Hello, I'm Mel Erickson, creator and author of Kid Talk, a faith-based curriculum for grieving children with Our Story Memory Book. Welcome. We're so glad that you're joining us today for 24 tips and tools to help a grieving child. Today, we purpose to rise in strength as we walk beside grieving children and nurture healing in them. I began work with grieving children in 1983 when my son died and his siblings were 5 and 10. Professionally, I began doing grief work with kids in the early 90s as a hospice bereavement coordinator. Today's session, we're going to condense 14 sessions of 2 hours each, over 103 activities, into segments that we think you will be able to do in the school setting. The curriculum is very adaptable to the situation, the setting, the learning style, the profile of the children you're working with. You'll have access to all of the material in your PDF packet, and the curriculum is on sale in the bookstore. Now I'd like you to meet my friend and colleague, Rayanne Kelly.
Hi, I'm Rayanne Kelly. I am a retired elementary and adult school teacher. I live in Tacoma, Washington. For the past 6 years, I have had the pleasure of working with Mel with grieving children. To start with, we are excited to show you a photo collage of the Kid Talk program we ran in the fall of 2019.
Before we begin session 1, I would like to give you 2 considerations that we think are important. So the first tip is to begin each session, no matter how long it is, with a child or a group of children, doing cognitive work and moving into the more emotive grief work, and then coming back to the cognitive finish. This is a natural sequence and makes it easier for a child to re-enter their real world when you're done with grief work. We typically do this by opening with a check-in and closing, completing a session log. The second tip, or consideration that I think is very important, is instead of repeatedly using the term loved one, replace it with the word decedent. Not every person who dies in a child's life is a loved one. We learned that, Rayanne, didn't we? When a little girl yelled at us, "He's not my loved one, I hate him." She had been abused. So we use the word decedent. It takes some getting used to, but it becomes very natural, and it's short. After we do basic introductions, I say something like this. Friends, we're here together today because someone important in our lives has died. And we all know that when someone we love or someone who's important to us dies, our whole life can change in a flash like this. Watch. Ready?
Can I do that? How did that happen? I want to turn. After the flash paper, we always present our ground rules. They're the same rules that the kids use in school. And so the first one being have respect, they know pretty much what that means. And we do ask, and they give us all the correct answers. And after respect, we tell them that it's okay to pass. And this is something that they may not be familiar with. Some of the students come in very sad or very shy, and they don't want to talk at all. So we allow them to just say pass, and we go on to the next person. After a few weeks, they're all talking. So it's never a concern, it's just that they have a comfortable space. We also introduced Wilma, our talking puppet, because sometimes the shy students love talking through Wilma and will verbalize more than we could imagine. And information about Wilma, if you're interested, is on your resource list. We also tell the students that it's a safe place to cry. Often at home, they say, "I don't want to cry because it'll make mommy sad. I don't want to cry because I don't want mommy to see me cry." So we say, this is a safe place. You can cry anytime you want to because everyone in this room gets it. They understand they've lost someone.
Mm-hmm. And we need to cry until we're dry.
Cry until we're dry.
Yeah.
Right? And a big thing is confidentiality, and we have to explain this a little bit, but we do tell the kids that what happens here in the room stays in the room. If they want to talk to their parents about kid talk, that's wonderful. We encourage that. But they can only talk about their concerns and what they learned. And now we're going to do My Silent Hurting Heart.
And thank you for demonstrating for us.
I'd be happy to.
This is a powerful exercise, and we save time by giving each child 2 cut out red hearts. And Rayanne, I want to invite you to tear one heart apart to show how your heart has been torn apart because someone important to you has died. And folks, be prepared for confetti. And for this reason, we give each child a second heart. Because, Rayanne, we're going to glue our broken heart back together like a puzzle. So I want you to take a pencil and scribble on the back side. We're going to put glue on that side. And then you get to tear this heart apart, knowing you're going to be gluing it back together like a puzzle.
So I won't tear it into so many pieces.
Good idea. Good idea. So you can put it back together and notice that it is hard work putting a broken heart back together. And it takes time. It's not quick. Aren't you glad you colored on the bottom side?
Aren't I glad that I can't put it back together? There, kind of.
There you go. So you want to put glue on the bottom, put it back together. It is a lot of work putting a broken heart back together. And it takes time. And sometimes we need help. Rayanne, is your heart ever going to be the same again?
Never. Never.
Will it be able to love again?
I hope so, yes.
May I offer you a little help? See, that's a pointy at the bottom.
This goes on the bottom?
It goes on the right side.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's better.
Yeah, see, we do need help doing grief work. You did it.
I did it.
You did it. Doesn't look the same, but it will love again. Okay. Our next activity is move. It's an activity that has profound impact on creating bonding with the children, and it helps get the wiggles out, although you might need to call it stand up.
When we do this, we have a regular classroom size, so it's easier for us to let the children go from corner to corner. If you're in an office, of course, that's not possible. So you could stand up, sit down, or any other way that you think it'll work out. But the wording is the most important part. And as Mel said, in order to get the wiggles out, we use this as an icebreaker, and it's called move. And we start with very easy questions. Everyone who has blue on, go to this corner. And of course, they jump up and run over there, and they're showing each other their socks and their shirts. And then you say, everybody who loves pizza, go to this corner. And they're going, I hate pizza, or I love pizza, and they go to this corner. As they go, they have smiles on their faces, they start to talk to each other, and the questions get more personal. And we ask, have you ever been to a cemetery? And there's like kind of a quiet while they're thinking about it, and then some of them go to a corner. We say, if you have a good friend that's moved away, they go to that corner. Someone in your family has died, they all go to wherever the corner is. Sometimes we even say, come back to the table. But the good thing about this, it starts them laughing. It starts them feeling a bit of community and a sense of belonging.
Our theme for session 2 is Meet Our Decedents. And our opening exercise is as follows. Kids, I have a roll of toilet paper here, and I want you to take as much as you need.
How much should I take?
As much as you need. And then please pass it to the person on your right. Yes, pass the roll, that's right.
And this is what they do.
Yeah.
Because they want to have the most.
A tip, bring toilet paper from home, because commercial toilet paper does not necessarily have perforations for tearing squares apart. So when everybody has toilet paper, I say, how many squares do you have? Count your squares, guys.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Oh,
1,
boy.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have the most.
You do. You get to start. So, Rayanne, will you tell us 9 things about your papa who died?
Oh.
That's it. And that's how it goes. We use this sometimes to tell things about yourself, tell things about your family, tell favorite things. It's a very adaptable exercise. But it's fun, and it's our opening exercise. And from there, we begin to get cognitive.
There's a paper in your packet of favorite things, and it's the decedent's favorite things. We hand the paper out and let the students look at them. Some of the younger ones don't know any of the answers. It says, favorite toy, favorite car, favorite music, favorite movie. They don't know any of the answers. Some of the older ones will say his truck, his recliner, her flower garden. They know some of the answers. So there is a little bit of discussion. And then we say to the kids, what we want you to do now is to take this home and have a conversation with your parents about the things that you didn't know. That generates talk within the generations of the family. And we call it grief work. And the reason we call it grief work is because we started calling it homework. And when we said homework,
oh no.
the reaction of the whole table is, oh.
Yep.
So we said, Mel and I spent a lot of time actually, and we came up with grief work. and it's no problem. I've got grief work to do. They're excited about it.
Because we need to do grief work to heal.
That's right. And they learn that after a couple of weeks. They learn that. It brings conversations that will encourage laughter and fond memories of the loved one.
An acrostic makes it possible to describe a person with just a few words using the letters of their name. You have on your screen an acrostic that's an example of one we do with the children in the first session, where they use the letters of their own name on a 10 by 12 manila envelope and put their future grief work pages in that to take home. Today, we're going to use an acrostic to describe our person who died. So again, you have samples on your screen. We offer to use word processing to make the acrostics look fancy so that the children can frame their acrostic of their decedent or put it on the refrigerator.
We're doing the session on memorials and funerals.
Okay.
Have either one of you been to a funeral?
Yes.
Yes. And especially to your bear papa's funeral. If you would take the time now to use the flannel board and the figures we have here and make a picture of what you remember at your Papa Bear's funeral. Okay?
Okay.
After the funeral flannel board story, which is a favorite of the kids, we like to settle them down and do a few activities where they can memorialize their decedent. We ask each kid a question. It can be any question, but we like to say, tell us something about your decedent, or say something to your decedent, and then ring the bell. So they will say, Mommy, I love you, or my brother had so much fun with his truck. And after they do that, we ask them to ring the bell. When the chime is gone, and I can still hear it, they pass it on to the next one. It's a lovely ritual that I think is quite meaningful to them, and they are interested in hearing each other's story.
And we often combine that with the lighting of candles. So we love encouraging, in fact, we give the kids a battery candle, a votive candle. But we also encourage families to have a battery candle that they can put on the mantle or in a special place so that when anyone is thinking of their decedent or missing them, they can light the battery candle. And it's like a code or a message for the whole family to know somebody's missing grandma. Maybe somebody needs a hug. So what we do at Kid Talk is we give each child a little 4-inch square of paper and a doily, and we give them the We Will Light Candles poem that's printed on a name badge, and they can stick it to the bottom of their base and put their candle on it and have this as their own personal way to remember their decedent.
In session 4, we talk about a grief bundle. It's something we all have in some form. We give the kids a cup with 10 paper clips, and then we ask them to put them together. It's a good kinesthetic way for them to spend their time. We like to make sure that we have activities for all learning styles, whether it's auditory, visual, or kinesthetic, because you'll quickly notice when you have a group that some of them are the artists of the group, and some of them are the readers of the group, and some of them just want to do this for the whole hour, which is fine. When we have them together, we talk about our losses, and we've all had losses. Some are big and some are not so big, but they bundle together. They stay together, and they don't go away until we do grief work, healthy grief work.
Our theme for session 4 is our personal grief bundle. And for this exercise, I like to use what magicians call a mouth coil or a rainbow streamer. And it goes something like this. Each of us has what I call a grief bundle, because grief attaches to grief all the way back to the cradle, just like we've learned with our paperclip exercise. A little baby old enough to love and attach is old enough to experience grief, even though they don't have memories or words for that experience. So my example is my own story. I was, of course, a grown-up. Oh dear, I was a grown-up when my Donnie died, and his brother and sister were 5 and 10. And 6 months before that, my mom died of Alzheimer's. And when I was a senior in high school, my brother was killed. And when I was 12 years old, no, that's not true. I need to start over. When I was a senior in high school, my dad died. And when I was 12, my brother was killed. And my parents put my dog Tippy to sleep that same summer. And in 4th grade, Martin Van Winkle called me on the phone and said, "Mary Ellen Sprinkle," that was my name back then, "I hate you and I never want to speak to you again." Well, guys, I'm 78 and I still remember that phone call. And when I was just 4 years old, Grandma Stock, who lived with us, disappeared. Actually, she went to the hospital. She was very ill, and she was old, and she died. So all of these loss experiences are in my grief bundle, and we each have one. But look at this, guys. Do you think it's easy to keep all of this inside of us? It's not. It's hard to manage. And sometimes it sneaks out, it leaks out, or it bursts out. And when we talk about our feelings and our volcano of feelings, we'll talk more about that. But it takes energy, and it makes us tired. It can make us cranky too, or snappy, or short-fused, because it takes so much energy to contain our grief bundle. And guys, that's why we do grief work. So today, I want each of you to look at your own personal grief bundle. So if you look at your page in front of you, you'll see a heart in the middle of this, what looks like a target. That's your heart. So you can write your name in it if you'd like to. And the losses or the goodbyes that you've had right around that are closest to your heart, that hurt the most, write those down in there. So clearly, it might be the death of your decedent, because that's a biggie that happened pretty recently. But maybe someone else in your life has died, or maybe a pet has died, or maybe someone moved away, or maybe you lost something very important to you. There are losses that don't make us cry, but still hurt. And so you can put those in the outer ring. Maybe having to say goodbye to your favorite school teacher because you graduated to the next grade or even the next school. Maybe your team lost and you're sad because you thought you had the championship nailed. Guys, every time something changes in our life, that means there's a new beginning, there's a goodbye, and every goodbye goes into our grief bundle and needs grief work. And that's what we're learning to do here at Kid Talk.
When my husband died 10 years ago, I, of course, was grief-stricken. We were very close. We did everything together. My heart was broken. But I am a strong woman, and I said I can do this myself. My daughter came to me and said, "Mom, you need to go to grief counseling." And I said, "No, I don't." "Yes, you do." And I thought, okay, I will do this for her. I went to Grief Share at my church, and I was amazed at what I was hiding. And the longer I was there and the more I shared and learned, the more I realized the value of grief work. While I was there, I met Mel, and she said, "You're a teacher. You've been through Grief Share. Why don't you help me with the kids?" It was a program that wasn't available. She was starting it. And I said, "No, I am not interested." And so I walked away very proud of my decision, and Mel didn't walk away. And she came back and asked me again, "You'd be the right person to come and work at Kid Talk." I said, "No, Mel." So I hedged my bet and I said, "I'll pray about it." I thought that would get rid of her. And so the third time she came back and said, "You really need to help me. I need help to get this program off the ground." And yes, you. And so I said, "What is God telling me?" And I said yes. I didn't want to do it, but I said yes, because I really felt that Mel and God were just going to get me one way or another. And so I started working with her as a teacher. And the more I saw these children who were hurt and really sad come around and work with each other and realize what was happening and do good grief work and smile and laugh and want to come to Kid Talk. Families have changed their vacations because their kids wanted to come to Kid Talk. And the more you work with that enthusiasm and that wonderful feeling, the more I realized, okay, I get it. It took me a while, but I get it. And I'm so thankful for it. Session 5, our theme is feelings. One of the activities we do in session 5 is a tangled ball of emotions, and you will see it on your screen. It's really interesting because a lot of the children want to know what some of the words mean, so there's a good discussion on big words, as some of the younger children call them: rejection, abandonment, disappointment. And some of the older children help them. And the nice thing is they're talking about feelings and what they mean. And then Mel and I help them out if they're going a little bit wrong on their definitions. But we give them colored pencils, and they get to color in the feelings that they feel. If rage is red, they could color that red. They get to choose. Sometimes we see a completely black ball of grief. And sometimes all of them are covered because they're the artistic ones, and they like to use different colors to make it pretty. But either way, there's a good conversation about emotions, how you feel after your decedent has died, and the activity is quite engaging.
And we often follow it with the yarn toss. And they're going to get to see a photo of acting out the grief bundle with balls of yarn that we toss back and forth and name a feeling before we toss it. Tangled ball of feelings. Yeah.
In the feelings segment, we talk about the pain of grief. And in our storybook, there's a person here, a gingerbread person, and it says, sometimes I physically feel the pain of grief. This is where and how I feel it in my body. And we say to them, where do you feel your grief? Sometimes they say in my stomach, in my head, in my heart, all really good answers and how they truly feel. Then we bring out the Band-Aids, small Band-Aids or little circle Band-Aids, and we say, put a Band-Aid on this person where you're hurting. So we give them each 2 Band-Aids, and they'll put one on their heart and on one their head. And then they'll say, could I have another Band-Aid? And another Band-Aid, and another Band-Aid, and it ends up that they're hurting in their knees and their feet and everywhere. It's a great activity. They're happily engaged, and all the time we're talking about where they physically feel the pain of grief.
So this session we've been talking about feelings, lots of feelings. And we close the session pretty much with the Watermelon Hugs poem. And we are sharing it with you.
Watermelon Hugs. Sometimes I'm sad, I mean very, very sad. Sometimes I'm mad, I mean very, very mad. Sometimes my feelings are in a jumbled up way, but my words get stuck and I don't know what to say. I need a secret word that I can softly say to let my people know I need some hugs today. There's flipper flap and snipper snap and blueberry and baba-bee, but watermelon seems just right for me. I shared my secret word with some special people, just a few, so when they hear watermelon, they will know just what to do. Now when I'm sad and want to hide under my fuzzy bear rug, I just whisper, watermelon, and I get a great big hug.
Hug. Oh. So I would like to prepare you for the feelings vase activity that you are about to witness, that we taped with 2 of our friends, Karsten and Ethan, whose mama died about 1.5 years ago. The boys attended Kid Talk for 4 sessions before COVID interrupted us. So they had not done this particular activity before. It is new to them. Our hearts were touched by their response to this activity. I only wish we could show you the full 20 minutes. But you will see how powerful this exercise is. And I want you to know that there is a special portal on my website just for you so that you can download the feeling cards that you will see the boys using. Friends, in this session, we're going to talk about feelings, and it's called the feelings vase exercise. So what I would like to do is invite you to select, let's say, 3 feeling cards that match your heart after your mom died. And you can go by the picture or the words, whichever you choose. So what I have is food coloring. There's blue, red, green, and yellow. Yeah. And I picked love because even though my son is gone and has been gone for a lot of years, I still love him. And so I'm going to pretend, because I already put a drop of blue in the vase, I'm going to pretend I'm putting a drop of blue in. I'm going to turn the water blue. So I want you to take each one of your cards, and say, I picked sad because, and
And
then you can choose what color to put.
but what about the other two?
One at a time.
Okay.
And Ethan might want to share them with you.
Okay. So I picked sad because my mom died, and it's sad that I can't see her anymore.
That is very sad. What color is sad?
To me, it's green.
One drop. Give it a squeeze, a little squeeze. Oop, perfect. Would you like to share sad with him?
Yeah, for me, I feel sad because, yeah, the same thing what he said pretty much. Just it feels sad after mom passed. Yeah.
Of course. What color is sad for you, Ethan?
There's already blue one, so.
You can use it again. It's your sad.
Should I do 2 drops or just 1?
You can do 2 if it's really, really sad. What's another feeling that you have?
Hope.
Okay, tell me about hurt.
Because of mom passing, it just hurts whenever I think about it.
Sure. And what color is hurt?
Red for me.
Okay. In it goes.
I feel rejected because I just feel like I was separated from my mom.
Ow. Ow, ow. What color?
Red, and because it's what we said, I'm gonna do 2.
We're going to do grief work to help us feel better. So, what I have in this bottle, guys, is bleach. And we're going to talk about things that we can do that help us feel better. And each time we name something, squirt bleach into the vase. So, for example, one thing I can do to help myself feel better is to talk about my Donnie boy who died. I love telling stories about him.
So, to make me feel better, I would probably look at pictures of my mom, but I know it would be kind of sad for me, even though.
It hurts good to look at pictures of your mom, right? Yeah, but that's grief work. There you go. Good job. Okay. Ethan, what do you do to help yourself feel better when your heart hurts?
For me, I just talk about mom.
Good. Squirt. Good.
And for me, just looking at old photos and videos of mom just helps me a lot. For me, just having time with my dad mostly does help me. Also, a lot. I have one more feeling to put some more bleach. Yeah.
Floral stones. And I want to invite you to drop a stone gently into the vase because I don't want the bleach water to splash out on the tabletop. And share a memory of your mama that you treasure. When you do that, take turns, back and forth. What's a memory?
For me, it's just being with her a lot. When I was little, we used to go to Disneyland, me and mom and dad, so yeah. Watching movies with mom.
Watching movies.
For me, it's just spending time with mom. Away from like coasting and that stuff. Like me and her going out to lunch or something.
Oh, special.
Yeah.
Cool.
Having fun and just staying at home, playing video games with each other.
Staying home, playing video games with your mom. Treasured memories. if we put more treasured memory stones in there, what would happen?
It would fill up.
It could even overflow, right?
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that because there's bleach in there. But what I want you guys to remember is, even though your mama's not here now, your memories of her fill you, right? Yeah. Thank you, guys. Reflecting back on the feelings-based exercise with the boys, I asked them to put a squirt of bleach in the vase for things they do to help themselves feel better. And that is grief work.
There's a handout that you have called Grief Tips for Kids. And what we have done with that is to put each tip on a card. And we put the cards in a basket, and we pass the basket around, and the kids pick one, and then we have a discussion about it. Help someone else happens to be this one. There's another one that says, take a walk. There's another one that says, talk to God every day and often. If this child can't read it, then we have someone read it for them. But it really stimulates a lot of conversation, and the students get into it. They start to think. I call them students, the kid, I'm a teacher. The kids get into it, and it really makes them think of other things that they do. So it's just a beginning of a great conversation. We use these throughout the rest of the sessions, just at the end to close, to see if they're doing healing grief work, just to make sure that they're on the right track.
And I would add that knowing there are things they can do, they can choose to do grief work, is empowering. It makes their grief less overwhelming, and they're less afraid of what they're experiencing because they know there's things they can do to feel better.
Session 7 is called Treasured Memories. It's a really joyful time with the kids. Lots of fond memories. We start out with a page in Our Storybook called Treasured Memories. And we take this chest and we cut a slit in it with a safe, sharp edge. And then we take an envelope, put it on the back. This is where we put our treasures. And we tape it. You can glue it. We do this ahead of time because then the kids don't have to be using the sharp edge, and it saves time. So we have our treasured memories, we have our treasure chest, and we can get into our treasure chest. Then we give them each 6 gold coins, and they cut them out. And on each coin, they put a happy thought about their loved one, a memory that they treasure, a time they were together. They write it on the back, and then they place it in the treasure chest. And we give them 6, and some of the younger ones have trouble cutting it out, but the older ones help them. But they want more than 6. Be prepared. They want maybe 12. And after they have all these, the envelope is stuffed of all the fond memories. And when you think about it, their just heart is happy thinking about their decedent during this time. And we give them some blank ones so they can take home and have a brother or a sister or a parent fill out some to put in here.
I have bear hugs, bear tree, because he always had a Christmas tree at Christmas that had all bear stuff. And then Pam and Piper, those were their cats. they loved cats. We went camping with them once, and then we called it gramping instead of camping. And then that's all.
A special letter is a powerful grief work activity. We use a 10-inch square doily purchased online and a 10-inch napkin. We have choices for the kids. When you place the napkin on top of the doily, you can fold in the corners and apply a sticker, and you have a very special envelope for your special letter. We invite the children to write a letter to their decedent. They can use a page from the Our Story memory book, or we also have pretty paper stationery available and a dark lined page that they can put underneath their stationery so they have lines to write on. And we suggest that they write a letter, whatever's on their heart, that they would like to say to their decedent. It might be, I remember blank, or I wish that, or
I miss you.
I miss you. That's always there, isn't it? Or I'm sorry that. The children write their letters, and of course we help with spelling. And sometimes we photocopy the letters and dispose of them, maybe burning them in a hibachi. We've done that, taken them outside and done that before. Or they put them in their special envelope. And tip, be prepared to make more than one special envelope per kid, because Mother's Day might be coming, or Father's Day might be coming, or they might just need to write another special letter to someone else.
This we made on the last day of Kid Talk, and we found a bunch of pictures that kind of reminded us of our loved ones or my grandpa. And I chose a bunch of Bear stuff because his last name was Bearskove and we called him Bear. And so I have a bunch. He was in the army too. He was he liked to build things a lot. And his birthday was December 24th. And they had a lot of cats. They loved cats. He liked to hear, I play the piano, and he really liked to hear me play. I'd like to think that he was super proud of me, even though he only heard me play once. But inside my box, I kept the stuff that I like to look at the most when I miss him a lot. I have a triangle book we made in Kid Talk, which I like to look at it a lot. So. This is the last birthday card he gave me. He always thought I was 1 year older, so this is from my 13th birthday. Happy 13th birthday. I made this bookmark because I like to read. He was 75 when he died, and he was born 1944 and died 2019, so that's why I have that. And we made this out of Model Magic. The words faded on the back, but I think it said, I love you, and then the date. And then we have the marshmallow shooters that we got the last day. And we put mini marshmallows in it, shot it onto things on the walls. That was super fun. And at a garage sale, we last year we found a bear, like a polar bear carpet, and my grandma cut one of the paws off of the polar bear, and she gave it to me. So I got that.
In session 8, we talk about when someone else has a broken heart. After the kids spend 14 weeks and go through this curriculum, they have so many ideas and so many positive ways to do healthy grief work that we suggest to them that they could help someone else who's in grief, which is a good way to heal your own grief. There's a page on your screen called When Someone Else Has a Broken Heart. And it says, sometimes I can tell that someone else has a broken heart. They look sad or mad or don't walk to play or talk. They might be grieving because they had to say goodbye, or someone or something that they cared about maybe died. These are the ways I can be a good friend to someone who is grieving. The page shows 9 colorful pictures, which are, of course, hints to different ways that you could be a friend to someone else. And then we ask them to write on the line below the picture what it is. And they all know the mailbox and to write a letter and give a flower and hand them a tissue if they need to cry, because crying is okay. I get it. There are 6 more ideas, all good for discussion of things to do for friends. And then we ask them, do you have a friend who is sad and has lost someone? And if so, what can you do or what have you done to help them with their grief? It's amazing to hear what the kids have already learned through this 14 weeks, and they are prepared to help others with their grief.
Love bubbles are a favorite way to memorialize. We purchase party bubbles. We blow love bubbles to fill the air with love. So each child has a little 1-ounce bottle of bubbles and are encouraged to send a love message before they blow bubbles. So we finished with love bubbles, and we want you to know that we are so happy that you have joined us today because you have an interest and a heart to serve grieving children. We thank you for that. And I want to invite you to come to my website and interact with me. We will do a Q&A, and I will do a monthly Q&A on Zoom that you are invited to join me for. It is our hope that what we have shared with you today will build your confidence and equip you to do this important work with grieving children. Everything is included in Kid Talk, a faith-based curriculum for grieving children with the Our Story Memory Book, and is available in the conference bookstore today. We hope to see you or connect with you, chat with you, Q&A with you in the near future. Thank you.